Hi, I'm Donna Fields and welcome to CLIL Scaffolding 3. It's a series of webinars designed to give you quick, easy, and adaptable scaffolding ideas. We can say that scaffolding is giving our students a helping hand into new material. And today we're going to talk about how to use scaffolding technique number 6 from my book, 101 Scaffolding Techniques for Language Teaching and Learning, that you can also find in Spanish at Amazon.com, Amazon.es, and probably another one in your country if you aren't in Spain or the United States. Today, our objective is to show how easy it is to adapt Scaffolding Technique 6 to primary and secondary students. And if you've seen other webinars, you know that it's always important to share our objectives with our students. It helps them feel more control of their own learning. So scaffolding technique number 6 is called Striptease, and that's just a play on words because we're talking about strips of paper, and Striptease is, well, look it up and you'll find out. I'm going to show you how this technique can work in both a primary and a secondary classroom. So the first one is, for instance, if we're in a secondary geography class, this is a typical page you might see in a textbook, and you need to teach the population pyramid. How can we make this interesting? Well, we can. It's easy and it's fun. First, you scan the image of the population pyramids. Second, you cut up the images into an even number of pieces, strips. Then you give a set to each pair of students, and each student takes half of the set. And ideally, they're not going to take the same half, they're going to mix up the set. After that, one person puts one piece down, verbalizes what they see in the image and in the text, and guesses what's missing on either side. So for instance, a student might say, on the red part of the puzzle, I see 23%, and perhaps on the other side that's missing, there's 77%. Then we have 45%, maybe on the other side there's 55%, and 32%, maybe there's 78% on the other side. I don't know what MA, the rest of MA is, but maybe on the bottom, it's the last part of the word pyramids. So let's look for a piece that either has those numbers on the right side or pyramid on the left side. And so the next step is that the next student puts one of the pieces down to the right or the left, and let's see if the first student was right in the guesses. So we still don't know if the guesses about the numbers were correct on the right side, but we do see that the word pyramid is filled. And so this student would say, I see 15%, perhaps on the other side, we'll see 85%, I see 45%, maybe on the other side we'll see 55%, etc. And I see part of a word on the bottom, maybe the rest of it is population. So the first student can either put down the piece on the left or on the right, depending on what that student has. Let's see. So the piece on the right, again, it doesn't have the numbers we expected, but at least the person verbalized it, and this student would continue. And they keep verbalizing what they see until the piece is back together. So it may seem simple to you, but what the students are doing is they're scaffolding their own learning. When they open the book later, they're going to recognize the graph, and they will already have verbalized the numbers that they've seen. Whether they guessed correctly or not, it doesn't matter. They focused on the graph, and they've deepened their learning. Now it's when you explain to them what the graphs really mean, and they can work in their textbook to understand it more fully. So that's scaffolding for secondary geography. Let's go to primary. So with primary, we're also going to use an illustration, and it's the same process. This time we've chosen an illustration of a science lab, and this is a perfect opportunity to help your students learn the vocabulary for the science lab. And if they already know it, it's a way to deepen their learning and to use it. So just as before, we take the image and we cut it up into even number of pieces, and you'll see that I only made 4 strips this time, but that's just because with primary students, you want to make it a little simpler for them. We don't want to overwhelm them. We give each pair of students a set of the puzzle pieces, and each student takes a half. In this case, we do want to supply the vocabulary so that they can use it. For the secondary, it wasn't as necessary. For this one, it definitely is. So we put the vocabulary where all the students can see it, either on the board or at each desk, and then, just as before, one student puts down one piece and describes the image and then what's missing. The other student puts down the piece that was missing and describes the image in that strip, and also what's missing on the right or the left. The pair of students continue until all the pieces are back together. And so they verbalize the vocabulary, they recognize things in the science lab, and they're going to be more interactive with the lesson and with the lab itself when you're ready. So that's all. That was our technique number 6, another type of puzzle. And all you super teachers out there, thank you so much for joining. And I hope to see you soon. Please send me a message at my LinkedIn page or Facebook page, and I can't wait to see you again. Bye.